please stand for the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mrs. Turner?
Here.
Mr. Bromhall?
Here.
Mr. Gaffney?
Here.
Mrs. Iacone?
Here.
Mr. Kenny?
Here.
Mrs. Quinn? Mrs. Trompe?
Here.
Mrs. Fitzwater here. Statement is hereby made that adequate notice of this meeting was given by submission of said notice to the Burlington County Times, the Courier Post, the Cinnaminson Township Clerk, and the district website on January 6, 2022. We have no executive session today. I'd like to open with just telling the audience a little bit about what we do, because I know every month we sit here and kind of fly through things, and so at the beginning of the year, I'd just like to let you know, give you a peek behind the curtain of the Board of Education. So I want to take this opportunity to explain a little bit about what we, as your Board of Education, do behind the scenes to prepare for our monthly board meetings. If you attended or watched previous meetings, you may have noticed that we usually all vote yes or aye to the board business. We make it look easy, but it doesn't always begin that way. We have a process that we go through before we sit down here each month. So here's a look behind the curtain. We receive weekly updates from Mr. Capello that tell us the goings-on at the schools throughout the district. Board members are assigned to standing committees which meet several times each year. These committees are Facilities Transportation, Policy Legislation, Curriculum Student Activities, and Finance Personnel. We occasionally form ad hoc committees when we need a small group to make decisions on items that are not part of our routine business, such as union negotiations, which are coming up this year. All decisions made in committees are added to the agenda and put before the full board for a vote. We have the agenda available to us the Friday before our meeting, so we read through it beforehand. Should we have questions about any agenda item, we email, call, or text the appropriate person. Different people up here are in charge of different parts of the district's administration. For general questions, we contact Mr. Capello, the superintendent. For curriculum, Dr. Goldburn. For special ed, Mrs. Llewellyn. And for finance questions, we get in touch with Ms. Livingood. They're all very good about answering our questions ahead of the meeting, so we all come in with a clear understanding of the agenda items. So that's why when we sit down here each month, we sound like a well-oiled machine. We work together to ensure the decisions we make are thoughtful and in the best interests of the children of the district. So thank you for listening, and let's get on with tonight's business. Hopefully we'll be a well-oiled machine. All right, moving on to Section 5, routine business. We have the Board Secretary's report for July 2022, the Treasurer's report for July 2022, the budget receipt transfers for July 2022, the monthly transfer report as of September 13th, 2022, the high school activities report for August 2022, the no food service management cost performance, the certified bill list for August 25th through the 31st and September 1st through September 13th, the approval of minutes, the special meeting on August 25th, the regular meeting on August 30th, confidential minutes on August 30th, the special meeting on September 19th, and the confidential minutes for September 19th. Mrs. Turner, can I have a motion to approve Section 5 routine business items A through H?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Bromhall?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 6, routine matters. The enrollment report as of September 23rd, 2022. We have no health report, the fire alarm report for July 2022, the crisis drill report for July and August of 2022, the HIB report, and the superintendent's monthly report. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. A little bit of sombering moment as we start each board meeting. We take a moment of silence, and on evenings like this evening, I think it's worth an extra look at a moment of silence and why we do that. Unfortunately, for those who didn't make it home, another senseless act of gun violence that impacted a school right across the river in Philadelphia this evening, and it serves as a sobering reminder for all the efforts that we put into supporting our students and school security. And sometimes, no matter the amount of resources that you put into school safety and security, events like this evening serve as a reminder that we can always be more diligent, we can always do more. So with that said, I did want to begin my remarks by welcoming everybody back to school. This is our September meeting. We've kicked off and launched the school year to 2,835 Cinnaminson students as of today. I'd like to recognize the teachers, the support staff, the administrators, our maintenance folks, our technology folks for doing an excellent and outstanding job ensuring that our classrooms were ready. We were ready for instructional delivery. Our athletics and our sports teams at the high school, as we'll hear about in a little bit from our high school liaison, are already off to a fantastic start. Clubs and activities at the middle school likewise. I'd like to give one little extra shout out to the folks in our marching band for an absolutely outstanding accomplishment, nearly doubling the size of the band. I think a lot of that can be attributed to the efforts of Dr. DeSalvio and Mr. Buchanan, so great job by those individuals. These couple of weeks, we find ourselves right in the middle of back-to-school night season, so hopefully a number of our families viewing at home or families in the audience this evening have had an opportunity to attend a back-to-school night. Thank you to the principals and to all of the teachers who put together an excellent hybrid evening at the Rush School and Cinnaminson Middle School last week. And coming up this week on Wednesday and Thursday night, we have the high school and the New Albany School back-to-school nights as well. We're also especially proud that we're able to offer these in a hybrid environment to our parents who are unable to attend in person, but to get a glimpse into the classroom from their homes as well. So a great takeaway from the last couple of years when we had interruptions due to COVID. Just a little bit, we're going to get to meet from some of the folks from our kindergarten team. I'm especially pleased to welcome them. I'm also especially pleased to welcome our new high school liaison, Emma Schreier, who, if you've attended a board meeting in the past, you may have heard her name repeatedly, usually with some kind of award attached to it. So we know she's going to do a fantastic job representing the high school student body this year. One other piece of recognition, I'd like to recognize Karen Rescue and all of those from our district who were affiliated with the Relay for Life this past weekend, which took place at Cinnaminson High School, including our high school art club, our high school DECA, the New Albany School Parading Pirates, and our middle school Purple Pirates. We're great with our alliterations and our branding. They raised nearly $13,000 to support a great cause. Upcoming and some board meetings. If you've enjoyed yourself this evening, we're going to get to hear from Dr. Goldburn next month as we'll present our state testing scores, and the following month we'll have our Cinnaminson students, the students from the middle school here, shadowing board members for Youth in Board Governance Day. Happy New Year to all of our families who are celebrating, and Mrs. Fitzwater, that is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. Trompe, can I have a motion to approve Section 6, Routine Matters, items A through F?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 7, we have Student Representative Report from Ms. Emma Schreier.
Hi, everyone. The students of the month for September are as follows. Class of 2023, Chelsea Von Posniak. Class of 2024, Bentley Bramhall. Class of 2025, Buki Mustafa. And Class of 2026, Emily Renoff. Congrats to the newly elected Class of 2026 officers. President Kennedy Kazowski, Vice President Lila McDermott, Secretary Brooke Howell, Treasurer Jordan Flunder, Historian Savannah Thevenagayan, and Liaison Olivia Ruggieri. The fall sports teams have started their seasons. For football, the captains are Jack Zarnowski, Malachi Etienne, and Isaiah Ruiz. The football team record is 5-0. Their next game is Friday, September 30th. Senior night is on Friday, October 7th against Maple Shade. For cheerleading, the captains are Ava Cartoni, Morgan Daniels, and Aaron Clark. The squad attended the UCA camp this summer at Monmouth University. The squad stayed in the dorms for 3 days and won the top banana prize. For boys soccer, the captains are Will Frasso, Josh Pereira, and Aiden Quinwright. Senior night is Thursday, October 6th at 3:45 p.m. versus Cherokee. For girls soccer, the captains are Leah Del Grippo, Katie Ambos, and Brooke Sendelevich. The record is 3-4. Senior night is October 13th against Bordentown. For field hockey, the captains are Olivia Catalano, Sam Megan, and Emma Mastrangelo, and Natalie Surma. Senior day is October 22nd against Florence. For girls tennis, the captains are myself, Emma Schreier, and Kate Harding. The record is 3-3. Senior night is October 13th against Elran. For boys cross country, the record is 5-0, and senior day is September 27th. For girls cross country, the team did great at the Cherokee Challenge and the first batch meet at BCIT. They practiced at Homedale on Friday, September 23rd, which is a yearly tradition. And finally, for girls volleyball, the captains are Sarah Glisson and Sammy Marescu. The record is 5-3. The next match is Thursday. Senior night is October 3rd against Collingswood. Homecoming 2022 planning is underway. The theme is seasons. Seniors have chosen autumn, juniors have chosen winter, the sophomores have chosen summer, the freshmen have chosen spring. Homecoming begins with hall decorating on Sunday, October 16th from 1 to 4 p.m. Spirit Week is Monday, October 17th to Friday, October 21st. The Spirit Days are Monday. Memory is Monday to dress as any childhood TV character. Tuesday, Teen Beach Day. Wednesday, Night in Hollywood. Thursday, Game On, dress as any board, sport, or video game. And of course, Friday, Class Color Day. The Homecoming Pep Rallying Game are on Friday, October 21st, and the dance is on October 22nd, once again in the high school's cafeteria. Freshman and new student orientation was held on Tuesday, August 30th. Students started their activities at 3 p.m. with creating name stickers with their qualities that they think will contribute to their class. Next, they played trivia about Cinnaminson schools and information about the surrounding area. Winners received a Wawa gift card. The final event was a scavenger hunt around the school so students could gain familiarity with important areas. Once again, the winning team members each received a Wawa gift card. The students had a barbecue before joining their parents and guardians in the auditorium for the information portion of the day, and then some time to walk through their schedules. Interact is currently working on the year's plan and activities. NHS assisted with the start of the new school year by escorting new students and freshmen in the building. The Tech 2 and 3 STEM classes are designing their own brand logos, which will be placed on all their creations this year. Students will have the opportunity to design and build their own epoxy resin molds using a 3D printer, construct Rube Goldberg machines to perform a simple task, and many other design challenges throughout the school year. The CHS Marching Band will be performing in their first competition of the season on Saturday, September 24th at Clearview High School. Upcoming competitions include Saturday, October 1st at Plymouth Whitemarsh High School, October 8th at Woodbridge High School, and October 15th at Clayton High School. And finally, the choirs at CHS have started back up and are looking forward to an exciting year. Our winter concert will take place on December 22nd at 7 p.m. in the CHS auditorium. Thank you.
Thanks, Emma.
Thank you, Emma, and welcome. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to the presentation that Mr. Capello had alluded to earlier about our new full-day kindergartens.
All right, so at this time, I'd like to invite the administration and teachers from the New Albany School to come up and prepare for the presentation. Board members, there are some slides, so you may find yourself wanting to sit out in the audience or at least doing a full lean so that you're able to enjoy the visual part of the presentation as well.
I'm going to put it. Good evening. I'm pleased to introduce the team members that I brought with me from New Albany. First, we have Mrs. Ashley Calfazade, the assistant principal. We also have several members of the kindergarten team, Mrs. Anne-Marie Bacchus, Miss Claire Errett, Mrs. Maureen Kohler, and Miss Nicole Matthews.
So thank you. I'm Maureen Kohler, and I had the experience of working in kindergarten when Cinnaminson was a half-day program. The teachers in the program really embodied the concept of not just working hard, but working smart. This enabled teachers with limited time to be able to make sure that the students were prepared well with their literacy skills to enter first grade. But it was, with the limited time, a shared decision that if students had more time, that they would be able to achieve such levels in areas such as math conversations, and science exploration. So I'm pleased to be here today with the group around me to represent our the first year of full day kindergarten here in Cinnaminson. So we said if we believed in our students and they can achieve, and showing our commitment to our youngest pirates was shown from the board and the community, and we are happy to share our results.
We believe our students are benefiting from a myriad of opportunities during the full-day program. First, over twice the amount of time daily devoted to math, allowing for math talks, show and shares, and conversations. During this extra time, students have the opportunity to collaborate with one another, share their thought process, as well as utilize manipulatives to problem solve and better understand the math topics at hand.
Students have been engaging in multimedia science lessons using Mystery Science and our TCI program, and they've gotten to have hands-on experience with experiments. Near and dear to our hearts is the kindergarten Courtyard project with their kindergarten.
Then we have morning meetings and daily play, which provide the opportunity for students to share, explore interests, and engage socially with peers. And this is so important, especially coming in with COVID, just this extra time for students to engage with one another. And just personally, morning meeting is one of my favorite parts of the day that just allows us to really connect and get to know each other before going into our school day together. After the first year of full-day kindergarten, our students have achieved in terms of math. Every student in every class were able to meet or exceed the end-of-the-year student growth objectives. These objectives included identifying solid and plane shapes, counting to 100 and beyond by ones, fives, and tens, as well as addition and subtraction up to 10 and at times up to 20, as well as many other things. And then we have our reading data. So our kindergarten students left New Albany with various literacy experiences and skills. We had 102 students exit kindergarten as readers, scoring a level D or higher on the F&P benchmark, which we are very excited about. And then we had 34 students making adequate progress in reading, scoring at a level C, and then 28 students on their way to becoming readers, scoring at that A or B level. And we're just very excited that we grew an entire community of early readers this year, and the kids were so excited too.
We wanted to include a schedule of a typical kindergarten day so that you could get a look at what we can include now that we have the extra time. We not only have the academics, but we also have ample time for centers and snack and play, which enables our kindergarten students to practice their social and language skills with their peers.
This also gives us great opportunities to provide feedback, hands-on experience with our teacher right there in the moment instead of needing to wait till the following day or following week. The next couple of slides will give you a glimpse of some of the activities our kindergarten students get to experience on a daily basis.
Bear with me for a second, I'm going to put on some music.
Wouldn't be kindergarten if it wasn't a little bit loud, maybe a little bit musical. Wanted to thank you for your continuous support and belief in us. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to the kindergarten team for putting together such a lovely presentation. They work hard all day long, and I actually know that from experience because from time to time, Mrs. Calfazade and myself have to push in as subs, and it's tiring. At the end of the day, we sleep well. So thank you very much.
And actually, real quick, kindergarten team, before you walk away, I just wanted to turn it around and open it up to any board members who may have questions about our full-day kindergarten program. Sorry to put you on the spot, but nothing like putting them on the spot and several weeks ago mentioning, hey, we really could use a presentation about the full-day kindergarten program, and do you mind doing it the week of back-to-school night and third week of school? And just like everything else, they took on the challenge, and thank you for doing that. So any questions from the board, comments from the board?
Certainly, Mr. Cavella, I have one. Great job, thank you, by the way. And it is an exhausting job in kindergarten. Could you just tell us, what do the children do during the center time?
Not to do jargon, but are you thinking center or social play?
Your center times, I saw you had, there's time up there they have?
Like interactive disciplinary
Yes.
centers? So I can say for mine, although I think some do it slightly different. For the most part, there's about 2 groups that are run with teacher support. So they typically run as guided reading, reinforcement instruction. In the kindergarten level, that might also be games or activities with letter sounds and rhymes, and the children can get pulled for specific skills. In addition to that, there can be other centers such as a leaf science investigation, graphing, math, as well as sometimes opportunities just to explore different mediums, art, plays, projects, and they can rotate through that through the week.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, any other comments from the board?
No, great job.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you once
for the
again.
update.
Thank you.
Appreciate your being here.
Okay. We're moving on to 9 correspondence to the board. I don't have anything to share this month. Anybody else? Okay, moving on to section 10, the committee reports. We had one committee meet this month, and that was the Facilities and Transportation Committee, and Mrs. Iacone has the minutes from that meeting.
The Facilities Committee met via Google Meet on Monday, September 26, 2022, to review the PSC&G Hutchinson Energy Saver Program proposals. Mrs. Livingood reviewed the proposal summary for the committee. The Memorial School will receive upgraded lighting and new HVAC rooftop unit. The New Albany School will receive upgraded lighting and new boilers. The Rush School will receive upgraded lighting and new boilers. These upgrades will result in energy savings for the district. All projects will be financed over 60 months at 0% interest. Mr. Tyndall reviewed the project timeline. The anticipated start date is June 2023. After review, the Facilities Committee agreed to place these contracts on the agenda for board approval at this evening's Board of Education meeting. The next meeting of the Facilities Transportation Committee has not been scheduled at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Iacone. Mr. Gaffney, can I have a motion to approve Section 10 Committee Reports, Letter A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Bromhill?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 11, public comments of things appearing on the agenda. And just to remind the public, that members of the public are reminded that comments should be limited to items appearing on the agenda. There will be another opportunity later in the meeting to comment on non-agenda items. All members of the public wishing to speak on agenda items should raise their hand. When called upon, participants need to state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. and in accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Bylaw 0164.6, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. With that said, is there anyone who wants to comment on anything appearing on the agenda tonight?
We would prefer, because there's a microphone there and we are broadcasting. Thank you.
Eileen Blystein at 812 Windsor Drive. I just had a quick question about the presentation. I didn't know what you guys did after, the other question, he asked, what do you guys do with that certain time? And there was other time that they had to play, I guess. I wanted to ask, what is that? And how do you, what criteria do you use when you're observing that? And what's the goal of that? That was my question.
Okay, great question. Ms. Jones, Scalfside, do you guys want to answer? At this point, yeah. At this point, we'll.
So thank you for your question. Towards the end of the day, prior to students going to specials, they do have time dedicated for social play. That's when they work on following routines, structure of the classroom, and they actually get to share. They learn how to share. They play with each other. There's actually, we brought out the kitchens back into kindergarten, so it's a time for them to just have free play with each other and learn how to be social. And that's something that we were missing out on in the past 2 years, as well as when we were doing the AM/PM sessions. We tried to implement it, but we only could spare about 15 minutes each day. So now we actually have that dedicated time.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Any other comments on items appearing in the agenda or from the presentation? Okay, looks like it.
Okay. We're moving on to Section 12, Personnel Certificated. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Ms. Fitzwater. Under Section 12, Personnel Certificated, Letter A, seeking the board's approval on items 1 through 5 as listed in the agenda. Under Letter B, Retirements and Resignations, seeking the board to approve the resignation for purposes of retirements of Stephanie Sieben, middle school English teacher, and we thank her for her 25 years of dedicated service to the children of Cinnaminson. Under Letter C, Teaching Overload, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 4 as listed in the agenda. Under Letter D, seeking the board to approve the following advancements on the salary guide as listed in the agenda. Under Letter E, Extra Duty Appointments, seeking the board to approve numbers 1 through 10 as listed under E in the agenda. Under Letter F, Leave of Absence, seeking the board to approve the leave of absence of employee number 100520, the extension of their leave from 11/30/22 to 6/15. Under Letter G, seeking the board to approve numbers 1 through 3 as listed in the agenda. Under Tutors H, seeking the board to approve items 1 and 2 as listed in the agenda. Student Teachers, seeking the board to approve the student teacher that is listed under under I1 in the agenda. And under Mentor Teachers, seeking the board to approve number 1 as listed in the agenda. And that is certificated personnel, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve Section 12, Personnel Certificated, items A through J?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Trempe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Bromhall?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 13, Personnel Non-Certificated. Mr. Capello.
Thank you again, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under 13A, seeking the board to approve numbers 1 through 3. Under Letter B, Leaves of Absences, seeking the board to approve the leave of absence listed in the agenda. Under Letter C, seeking the board to approve numbers 1 through 7 as listed under C in the agenda. Under Letter D, seeking the board to approve numbers 1 through 3 as listed in the agenda. Under Letter E, seeking the board to approve the transfer listed under Letter F in the agenda. There are no job descriptions this evening. Moving on to Letter J, seeking the board to approve numbers 1 through 3 as listed in the agenda. That's non-certificated.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. Bromhall, can I have a motion to approve Section 13, Personnel Non-Certificated, items A through G?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trempe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 14, Curriculum and Instruction. Dr. Goldberg.
Thank you. Under 14, letter A, requesting board approval of the professional development requests that are attached. Under letter B, requesting board approval of the field trip requests that are attached. Under letter C, requesting the disposal of the mathematics textbooks from grades 3, 4, and 5 that have been replaced as attached. Under letter D, there is nothing this month. Under letter E, requesting board approval of the district's submission of its emergency remote instruction plan to the NJDOE as required by Chapter 27, which is also attached. And we request approval of those items, please.
Thank you, Dr. Goldberg. Mrs. Iacone, can I have a motion to approve Section 14, Curriculum and Instruction, items A through E?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Bromhall?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 15, Special Education. Mrs. Llewellyn.
Thank you. Under letter A, contracts, there are none. Under letter B, out-of-district placements, seeking the board to approve the out-of-district placements for the 22-23 school year as attached. And under letter C, consultant agreement, seeking the board to approve number 1 as listed in the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Llewellyn. Mrs. Turner, can I have a motion to approve Section 15, Special Education, items A through C?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gaffney. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Bromhall?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 16, Policies and Regulations. Mr. Capello?
Thank you again, Mrs. Fitzwater, seeking the board to approve on first reading the following policies and regulations, and those policies and regulations are listed in the agenda.
Mrs. Trompe, can I have a motion to approve Section 16, Policy, item A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 17, Business and Finance. Ms. Livingood.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Item A, grants. Number 1 is that the board accepts the revised 22-23 funding statement for services under Chapters 192, 193 as attached. Section B, Finance. Item number 1, that the board approves the lease purchase agreement between Cinnaminson Township Board of Education and Cogent Bank for the purchase of 4 school buses at a cost of $566,129 to be paid over a 5-year period, which was sourced through the bid process provided by the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey as attached. Item number 2, that the board approves a change order for the final invoice for the fuel tank removal project in the reduction of $19,745.30 as attached. Section letter C, operations. Item number 1, that the board accepts with gratitude the following donations: from Dylan Hart Foundation to the high school mental health resources in the amount of $544.52. And the second donation from the Evesham Township School District to the Transportation Department. They are donating an out-of-commission 54-passenger Bluebird school bus. Item number 2, that the board accepts the School Alliance Insurance Fund Safety Incentive Program Award in the amount of $5,500. Item number 3, that the board authorizes the board secretary business administrator to advertise for competitive bids for custodial services for the Cinnaminson School District for the time period of January 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, for the option of 2 one-year extensions. Item number 4, that the board approves the discarding of a Yamaha piano, which is in disrepair as attached. Item number 5, that the board approves the budget objectives for the 2023-2024 school year as attached. Item number 6, that the board approves the tentative budget calendar for the 2023-2024 school year as attached. Section D, contracts. Item number 1, letter A, that the board approves the tuition contract and invoice between Cinnaminson Township Board of Education and Burlington County Institute of Technology for regular and special education students at a rate of $3,659 per student for the 22-23 school year is attached. Letter B, that the board approves the list of regular and special education receiving tuition contracts between Cinnaminson Township Board of Education and various boards of education for the 22-23 school year and a 22 extended school year at the respective rates of tuition as attached. Item number 2, that the board approves the agreement for the professional services between Cinnaminson Board of Education and Huddle for a 2-year period at a rate of $28,400 as attached. Item number number 3, that the board approves a 1-month extension of the contract for custodial services and low-pressure boiler operations for the Cinnaminson Middle School to daycare cleaning services in the amount of $11,410 per month for the month of December 2022. Item number 4, PSE&G Hutchison Energy Upgrade Contract for the Memorial School. As attached, item number 5 is the PSE&G Hutchison Energy Upgrade Contract for the New Albany School as attached. And item number 6 is for the PSE&G Hutchison Energy Upgrade Contract for the Rush School as attached. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Livingood. Mr. Gaffney, can I have a motion to approve Section 17, Business and Finance, letters A through D?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trump. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Bromhall?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. Section 18, under other business, we interviewed 6 really good candidates to replace our retiring board member and came to a decision to approve the appointment of Mr. Daniel Evans to complete the vacant Board of Education term through December of 2023. So, welcome.
Welcome.
Yep. Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve Section 18, Other Business, letter A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. We're moving on to Section 19, public comments on other matters that don't have to be appearing on the agenda tonight. So at this time, the board will seek public comments on any item. Members of the public are reminded that if they wish to speak, they must give us their first and last name and address for the record in accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Bylaw 0164.6. Comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. Anyone wish to speak?
Brittany Ralvis, Cinnaminson, New Jersey. I just want to thank Dr. Goldburn, Mrs. Jones, for the other night at Rush School, for giving their time and actually speaking and having a human-to-human conversation regarding everything that's going on. So I want to say thank you and put that on the record. I just wish we would have done it a little bit sooner. I see the ones coming up next week for the middle school. Hopefully can be there. I just want to be able to keep these conversations open and very transparent. I have brought some issues that I've had already with the school to the attention of Mrs. Melcher, who's also an amazing human being. You guys did a good job when you hired her. I wish I could say the same for the person that sits underneath of her. I think that there is clearly an issue going on at the middle school. It's apparent. I think if I challenged her to come to the board meeting tonight, but I see she's not here. And I just wish that we could have an open conversation. When there is no respect for the parents that you're speaking to, and you expect these children to respect you, I grew up in an era of respect begets respect. I don't care what your age is. So I really think that we need to look and see what we're doing here, because I think it's having the opposite effect, especially with discipline. I brought up restorative justice because it was said at an orientation. I've been, since spoke to Mrs. Jones, I guess I just am a little bit confused on how some things are still being allowed at the middle school. I mean, you guys are close to having sexual charges, assault charges being filed by the same individual that continues to do the same thing but is still in the school. I also brought to the attention, back to school night was great, It started out with talking about the Uvalde school shooting, which was a little damper. I'm a big believer now in today's times that these kids should have their cell phones on them all the time, in their pockets, put away. I am now being told that is not the case at the middle school. They're confiscating phones. I have a problem with that. I asked the board, curriculum director, and the superintendent, as well as the principal and staff that are here, to really reconsider that, okay? Again, not condoning these kids being on the phones, but in the type of world we live in today, it is what it is. The last thing I wanted to touch on, not really a political person, I really don't care, but I think we can all agree that news channels and stations have certain spins on things. So again, when I'm sitting at back to school night and the world geography teacher feels it's so important to show us all that CNN is being shown to these kids as a, I don't know, daily events or whatever is going on, and his response was, oh, I had a parent last year that had a problem with it and now she's fine. That is an issue. School should not, that kind of stuff does not belong in there. So I have brought this to the superintendent and the principal, who both agreed that they would, look at their teaching curriculum. But I just ask that we're trying to be transparent. To me, that's not transparent. There is plenty of non-biased news stations out here, educational stations, that can be shown to these kids. So I just ask again on the record that we really look at that and what's going on in the classes. And again, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. Any other members of the public who'd like to address the board at this time?
Mary Beth Hankins, 705 Windsor Drive. I just wanted to, I did go to the CHASA meeting with the new curriculum when everything was explained. It was very informative, and I appreciate you taking the time again to speak with us. I did come across an article from the New Jersey State Department of Education that kind of raised some concerns. I'm curious if the new sex ed curriculum is considered updated by their concerns. It says that if districts do not follow the new updated sex ed program, that they could be put under monitoring, and that the new standards are mandatory. So my question is, if, what do they deem, I'm sorry, what do they consider, to be updated? Is what we have going on now considered updated, or is this something that's going to change? It said if the district scores below 80% in any of the areas, it is required to create an improvement plan. So is the curriculum, is there a possibility that it could change if the Department of Education sees that it's not meeting their standards? Also, I read that students could have an unexcused absence on their record if a parent does not inform the district in writing that they choose to opt their child out, and I'm just curious if that's, I know we spoke about opting out for certain programs that were going to go on in the health area, so I just had some questions about that and wanted to maybe see what could be done.
Thank you, and I appreciate your questions, and can certainly have a conversation with you after the board meeting. But yes, our health curriculum has been fully implemented, and what you're referring to is the QSAC process. It's a monitoring for all districts. Our district will be a part of that process during the next school year, and they will look back to see that we've updated our curriculum. And I think a lot of the questions that came, well, I think the root of your question was, will we be updating the curriculum? And the curriculum has been implemented, or has been adopted and implemented, and in accordance with being compliant with the state's QSAC process. Yes, the curriculum's been updated, and the specific questions from it that Dr. Goldburn addressed at the home and school meeting and the back to school nights, I think get into a little bit more into the weeds of what the curriculum entails versus what the standards suggest. So thank you. That was a great question. I appreciate it. Any other members of the public who'd like to address the board? That's it.
All right, we're moving on to section 20, comments from the board. Mrs. Turner.
Good evening. Welcome to Emma Schreier, who will serve as our high school representative on the board. It was great to see so many families at Rush and Cinnaminson Middle School back to school nights. Looking forward to New Albany and the high school over the next couple nights. Congratulations to Ms. Sieben on your retirement. We thank you for your many years of service. Great job to the kindergarten team. We truly appreciate your presentation. Thank you for all the donations to the school district. Welcome to Mr. Daniel Evans to the Board of Education. We look forward to working with you. Thank you to, and the next regularly scheduled board meeting of the Board of Education is Tuesday, October 18th, 2022, at 7 p.m. right here in the middle school cafeteria. Information can be found on the district website.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner.
Thank you.
We are not going into executive session, so all I need is, Mr. Bromhall, can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you.